All right, let's call the meeting to order at 6 o'clock. And like usual, we will begin. Oh, we have a full house here today? Yes,
Yeah.
okay, then we'll take public comments. Anyone? Oh, moving right along. Right.
You like this? Who's absent? Oh, John had.
That it? Yeah.
Mhm.
Are there any additional thoughts or discussion since our last couple of meetings with respect to the amended proposed spending plan for both municipal and educational?
Um, I am apt to propose putting back the 2250 that we took out from the library, and also apt to propose putting the $2,000 that the rec commission cut for the winter activities.
That would be for transportation, just to
Yes,
clarify.
just.
No, right.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
No, I'm sorry.
So those were my additional thoughts. I've also, looked at like different numbers and what the implications would be, for mill
Well,
rate
the
and stuff like
implications
that.
for a little over $4,000 are not great one way or the other, although the impact of the $4,000 probably is great for the person involved.
Okay,
Significant.
So my further thoughts on that are along the lines of discussing the revenue plan and things like that, but my thought was that our general fund appears in my short years of observation to grow consistently. And I can't, to the best of my knowledge, it is due to any or all of three things. One, prudent budgeting. Two, over budgeting. And three, unanticipated revenue. And it continues to grow. And I do know that in the past 2 years, at least, during which I've been involved, in 1 year, we did not use the allocated general fund at all. And another year, we used very little. And it looks like it's very possible that we may not use our allocation this year, although that is yet to be confirmed. It's only the end of April. So, my inclination is that we would use a significant portion of the general fund, and it would bring it down to a smaller percentage of our operating or our budget. And I would love to hear in what instances we have had to use big portions of our general fund in the past. I know it's there for unforeseen emergencies or unanticipated opportunities, so that we can avoid having to finance something fully. They have a short history on the Board of Finance, so I can only go from the limited amount of time that I've been on this board. And there were a limited amount of financial documents from previous years available to me, which I did try to see, to get additional history. So, I think that it's great that our general fund keeps growing, but I think we do have an obligation to the citizens to keep the mill rate low and to use our savings, because we keep growing our savings because of the practice of the way we budget. We over budget, we're prudent with our money, and we do work to find additional revenue. So that's my position. Right, those are my additional thoughts.
One of the things, and I'm gonna direct this to Dave, and we haven't really discussed this at all, but in the projected revenue, there's a significant drop in state and local revenues. Is that basically from lack of information at this point?
Right
Or
now,
do you know something?
No, I don't know anything at this point in time. As a matter of fact, there had been a few bills in the House regarding car taxes and things like that, and they all died in committee, as you well know.
Yes.
Right now, we don't know what our allocation from the state is going to be. The only thing that I believe we know at this time is what we're getting from LoCIP, which is has to do with capital projects on roads or projects on roads. Beyond that, we usually don't know until, well, we should know within a couple of weeks what we'll be getting from the state.
So the 608,559 is a conservative number for cost,
Correct.
right? And but historically, you know, in 2023, 24, we received over 900,000 in state revenues. So I think it's wise to be cautionary. No, that's only for this one.
Oh, yes, okay.
Yeah, and
I see.
yeah, I think it's bad to be conservative on state revenue because the state is unfortunately very unpredictable.
Includes the appropriation, which is.
So that's another reason.
All right, and as you remember, Amy, I think the budgets, or excuse me, the proposed spending plans and the budgets for a number of years have been projected without knowing exactly what that state revenue will be.
Which only amended that we know.
Right.
You know, for instance, it was approved with 889, 843, and it was amended not much more to 921.
May I just point something out? Those numbers you're reading include the general fund appropriation of $322,000 in the total, which is not revenue.
Wait, which number?
All of the bottom ones include the general fund appropriation, which is not revenue.
608.
We got the 608.
No, I'm talking about the 608.
The other one's the 900 and all those.
900. Which
Yeah.
9?
No, this one, these two. He's referring to these two.
The state and local revenues include, what are you saying?
The appropriation
This general fund appropriation, which is not revenue.
is included in those numbers.
Yes.
Then
So-
is it being added twice? Are you saying it's being added twice then? No,
It's just in that total.
it's in the, was 889?
Yeah.
Okay. How? Why is that?
So.
I see, I
Yes.
see, I
The
see.
revenue then, Denise, would include 182,000 from the general fund.
No, that's a. That's not revenue either. That's not revenue.
Yeah, no, I see what you're saying. Everything from current property taxes down. No, what is included?
Yeah, everything from, you're right, from a additional appropriation from general fund down.
Is in state revenue?
Yeah. You know, the 608 probably the more appropriate number for next year than, and your 866 is actually reasonably low.
Bank deposit investments would not be a pilot, town revenue recreation fees would not be, so
They're state and local revenues.
well, what of these are you saying would be included in the
All of
889?
All of them, according to the formula.
Oh, okay, so,
According to
okay,
the
got it,
formula, all of them are.
got it. Okay, great. So then I take that back. Then it's just the zero number here. In our projected revenues, we have no. No general fund in
We have
there,
no general fund allocation.
but where's the
That's
state,
a
the
bright
state
enough
revenue?
Right,
Yeah, but shouldn't, yeah, it's because it's not revenue.
But where's
Right.
the state?
property?
No, there's, what are we waiting to hear from?
Oh, it's.
State,
We're waiting to hear,
Different items,
I'm sorry, we're waiting to see how much we get from the state.
for like town road aid money,
Well, LoCIP, we know. It's also, Michelle, KCS, that isn't sharing,
Program.
right? That's why your pilot is low.
But there's.
Okay.
Thank you, Michelle.
The telephone access.
Mashantucket, Pequot,
So I see, that's very helpful, so. The state and local revenues is just a conservative total.
Correct.
Right, okay, thank you, thanks Denise.
So with the current amended municipal and education spending plans, what are we looking at as a debt before any general fund? What are we looking at as deficit?
450,000 26.
Can I ask a little bit more? Michelle? So I assume we include the debt relief, the debt service too, don't we? In our municipal expense budget, and so you have what for the municipal spending plan?
232668747.
Including the debt service.
Yeah, so Jeff,
You have 2, 3,
2668747. Okay.
okay. And then we have our 3,678,54.
Yeah,
Okay. So. Right, in a grand list, you have 239, 949, 298. For our grand list, yeah.
the projected revenue is 5,546,715.3. That's at a 98% collection rate.
Oh, I'm budgeting at 100 for this, I see. So you're doing it at 98. Okay, got it. So you have 458.25. Something like that.
There we go.
As the deficit.
4582617.
Good.
Which is 1.88 mil.
Yes. And if we maintain 12.5% in the general fund, depending on whether we've talked about the general fund being based on uncollected revenues being somewhere, landing somewhere in the 800 to 900 range, 900 probably being the top, 800 being the lowest. We've probably got on average, it only gives us about $100,000 to allocate in the general fund if we want to maintain the
Well,
level.
I'd recommend that we consider maintaining a lower percentage for the general fund.
Thoughts on that?
I mean, we have had a lower percentage in the past to keep the mill rate down and contributed more significantly.
Where's the percentage that we need to?
Well,
I
I
mean,
We don't need, we
we
agree,
don't need,
but we voted to keep it at 12.5, I believe it was, yes?
Others, suggested range is 10 to 15. They have said for a town our size, talking about the lump sum amount, that they like a higher percentage.
right,
I understand that, yeah.
and then we're at what now? What would we,
If we were at 12.5%, which is about roughly 750, then we've only got
yeah,
about $100,000 to allocate from the general fund.
no,
On the other hand, while the auditors do recommend higher level, because we are a small town, we probably don't have the same contingent liabilities or events that are likely to come up.
I think the other thing to point out to the board is that we've also had these non-recurring capital funds where we've had money put aside. I don't know the exact amount right off the top of my head, David, but we have that money that we've always had in the background that we could always lean on if we had to, should we have something catastrophic happen.
And
And all that would take, I'm sorry, Amy, I apologize. All that would take is a town vote for us to take those monies out of those funds. Now, we've cut them back 15% this year, but we still have money in those funds.
And all I'm saying is that I think we're being extremely conservative in the revenue, or somewhat conservative in the revenue, and I think my prediction is that when all is said and done, you know, come July or August, we're gonna see the general fund will be more than 12.5%. And we'll just keep growing our general fund because of our caution, our very cautionary.
You have a thought on that, Michelle?
I do think there's more revenue to come in. So, yes, it could be higher. It also depends on, you know, for myself, I was projecting $30,000 coming, you know, not spent in
Mhm.
the municipal. I don't know about the education. But we also are anticipating one of our tuition payments was lower because the high school paid share too, so.
And that doesn't always happen, of course.
It does not.
Right, but it happened.
So I mean, I can only project what I can.
In that payback, from the, region doesn't show up as revenue, correct? We get that as credit.
Yeah.
Right.
So, you know, I think that we can afford to be a little less conservative based on history.
So if I calculated correctly, if we were to drop to 10% on the general fund, we would have about $250,000 available to allocate for a potential deficit, which would leave us in the range of $200,000 deficit to make up, which is also in the range of 1 mil,
Correct.
0.9 mil, something along those lines. I just want to make sure
That's
we're all working off the same numbers here.
Yes.
Well, I'll just say
I mean,
this,
they're not gonna be exact, but we're pretty close.
right, but the one thing, we don't know right now, and we won't know, for sure till we get closer to the end of the year, is what precisely is in the general fund. Because, a couple of things are noticeable to me. One is it's in the treasurer's report, even though we don't collect all the revenue. All the revenue is assumed to be collected, so there's gonna be some give there. And also, the point that's been made, and that is that the general fund appropriation is not revenue. So I don't know where the number is gonna come out, but I'm hoping at our May meeting, that we can be provided with as close to accurate a number as we possibly can, and that's plenty of time for us to know how much we have to use when we set the mill rate. But it isn't the issue before us now that the spending plans would be,
That's right.
Mhm.
so was there,
But it's all connected,
Right.
it's all one thing.
uh,
I think you're right.
so maybe we should take care of the spending plan.
You know, and we don't know what the general fund believe, but also we've had very good recent success with collecting our revenues. We've got, I don't know where it is statewide, but it's got to be one of the lowest levels of uncollected revenues. We're not in a recession. You know, it's not COVID, it's not 2009. When I came to the bank in 2009, they had one defaulted mortgage. Okay, you know, 4 years later, that was all I was doing. It was just, you know, foreclosing and defaulting and workouts. So, but we're not in that environment right now.
And again, we have a very small debt service when you look at,
We do
What
have a
we
small
have.
debt service.
I mean, compared to other municipalities.
Yes,
So I think John's right. We should really talk about the spending plan right now and make a motion to what we want to send to town meeting. I think that, I mean, on town hearing, I think that would be what we need to do next.
Historically, we worried about the mill
Wait.
rate
After.
after the town vote. Yeah, right now it's a little early to be discussing it and now expectations to people.
So,
I mean, we dropped the mill rate by 2 last year. I don't really see a way we're not gonna be able to avoid raising it by at least 1. I think we'd like to stop it at that.
So we want to talk about the spending plan though, right? Do you need a motion?
Yes.
John, go for it.
So you had two options you want to discuss on the spending plan.
But once it's on motion.
They're pretty minor.
But does anyone want to make a motion about the spending plan?
Where are we on the Board of Ed? They've submitted.
Yes,
a budget.
we've got confirmation from them. That they've done what we asked them to.
Okay, so why don't we take care of that first? I will move that we recommend to a town meeting the amended Board of Education budget that's been provided to us.
I'll second that.
I think we need the number on that one.
Yeah, you're right.
And it would be, I'm sorry, John, it would be town hearing first.
Town hearings.
Now we have a town hearing first for public hearing for discussion, so they can.
For Board of Education 2020.
Any other discussion?
Wait a minute, it's $3,670 and dollars, $3,670,854.
Okay, to send a public hearing, you don't need a dollar amount, because what's supposed to happen
Okay.
is after the public hearing, you guys come back. Consider everything that
Right.
was said at the public hearing, send the final dollar amount to town meeting.
Okay,
So you're just
the
sending the
spending.
2024 as received to the public hearing.
Okay.
That was John, second by Carol.
Mhm.
Okay.
Are we ready for a vote? All those in favor?
Right.
All right. Opposed? Unanimous.
Other copy from Pat. He's gonna say,
Oh,
did Pat say she give you a copy?
we don't have it yet. She gave me an email confirming.
You can send it to me.
And you got the same thing?
I got the email, but not the revised, but that's after you
Yes,
tell her we confirmed it. right?
yes.
Okay.
Okay, that brings us back to the municipal budget. And I think we had the makings of a motion or 2 motions. We should probably vote separately, I think.
We don't have a motion yet, though.
Pardon?
I was just talking, as you asked about
Okay,
thoughts.
I think we should have a vote on those 2 rather
I haven't made a
minor
motion.
amendments.
No, I haven't made any.
Wanna make
motion yet.
Oh,
I'd
no,
like to make a motion to amend the municipal spending plan to reinstate the $2,250 that we deducted from the grant for the library and the $2,000 that was deducted by the rec commission in their winter activities budget.
Are you
I think
breaking
make two separate motions.
Two separate motion? Is that what you
I
made?
think. it should be
I
two separate
can do
motions,
2
yeah.
separate motions, but I'll make it 2 separate, so just the library
Okay.
one right now.
let's give Denise a chance to catch up.
Amend to reinstate $2,200,
$2,250
$250 to the library.
grant.
Got it. And
Do we have a second? I'll second. Discussion?
You think it's prudent to bounce around like we do with?
This is why we have these.
Well, I know we're having a discussion, but I mean, we have been. Yeah, the numbers are bouncing around quite a bit. What's anybody else's thought? I mean, what's everybody else's thought?
Do you mean, Steve, that we just filled them in a few days ago and now we're?
Now we're having, it.
Yeah.
Yes, I haven't, I think
Yeah.
that it's a little bit, we've made our
Right.
decision. I think we take it to the town hearing, see what they have to say, and then make our decision then. We can make those motions at a later date after we hear what the rest of the taxpayers have to say. That's my feeling. So I kind of agree with Steve, I think.
Otherwise, we can continue to make motions.
It'll be go on and on and on and on, and I think that we have to just,
I don't know that we have any new information from what
No.
we met,
no,
so it would essentially be a revote.
I think we just vote to send it to town hearing. Let's get the feedback. We need to get
Well, we
feedback.
have-
So you put the motion on the table, you can vote no, it was fine. I just wanted to.
not if it's seconded.
I'm not actually gonna withdraw it when it's been seconded, but thanks. I'm just gonna throw it out there.
And I said I'll second it.
Yeah.
All right, we'll take a vote.
And you have to go around, I guess.
No, no one's on Zoom.
Okay.
All those in favor? All those opposed? Do we need to take a vote?
Yeah,
No,
we know what you meant.
Amy and Dee,
Very
I got it.
That's fine.
And Amy,
The other motion is for the winter activities and the program for $2,000
I'll second that also, and in my opinion, the library is
Budget for that?
subjective in terms of the level of the programs and the level of funding. As I understand the winter program, without the busing, it's dead. So I think this is a make it or break it thing. Because there's not gonna be a winter program without busing. And $2,000, it's not a lot of money to spend to improve the quality of some lives, both for parents and children that participate in this program. So that's why I would favor this. Any other comments?
Been seconded?
Yes. it has
Amy
been
and Dee.
seconded.
All right, we'll take a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Thank you.
Yes. Okay, so we're gonna add 2,000. I mean, that's the winter program.
So you're putting it back, right?
So
I could just,
3,000 now,
Correct.
and you're putting, what,
$2,000.
$2,000.
going back,
So we are at 5,999,541.47 total. Okay,
I think the other item is the dates.
No, we have to make a motion now
you go to the hearing.
to go to hearing now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you need a motion to present to at town hearing the municipal spending plan as revised tonight. That's, I make that motion.
you
I'll
can put in
second
the
that.
date at the same time.
Do we have a date?
That's what we're talking about.
Okay.
Yeah, I think May 10th, which is a Friday, this is adequate notice if we post on the 1st on May.
It was just,
What do you suggest?
no,
Not a Friday?
No, you gotta, no,
I'm just thinking if you need some additional time, 10 days for town.
You do need,
Hearing.
Between 5 and 7, so if we get into the first, we can have it
Yeah,
the
we
8th
could have
or
it.
10th.
is Friday a good time to get participation?
I think so.
I think you get more.
In the early evening?
On Friday.
I do too.
On a Thursday or.
I would make it about 7 o'clock.
So to continue with that motion on Friday, May 10th.
And the time, we like 7 o'clock,
I'm thinking 7, because it gives people that are from out of town time to get,
and it gives people time to eat dinner and they don't
Put your
have to
babysitter ready.
work around it too much.
Last year we had Zoom. Want that again?
Pardon?
I would.
Last
Oh,
year we had
yes.
Zoom.
I
Want
think
that
it's,
again?
yeah,
Yeah,
Where?
We'd have to
You
find
know?
out what space is available. It could be either the school or the firehouse.
Is it?
The firehouse.
Available, I can send a message to the board right now.
okay.
Thanks, Michelle.
I will put if available
yeah.
in your motion, Amy. Just we did last year.
That'd be great. And, but I do have a question. Do we have to, say that the Board of Education would also be included in that hymn?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Please do.
Okay, I'll second that.
Thanks, Drew.
Just some discussion, Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
when we present, or when the Board of Finance presents, I would suggest using this document, okay, with the open column here, because that will be officially generated from the town hall.
yes,
Everything else you have is produced as
it's
a
worksheet.
as a worksheet.
Yeah, I would-
So this would be the
yes.
official one that we could reproduce.
And that'll be as amended and.
As amended.
I agree.
Mm-hmm, okay.
So you would have to get those numbers to the treasurer so she can import those numbers into this document.
You have them, right?
Okay.
And you'll just add the
Well,
2,000?
this change will be in.
So you change them.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're just,
But this would, traditionally, this has been the document that has
Yes.
been distributed.
And we'll have the same thing from the Board of Ed. I'll confirm that with Pat.
and just to clarify, historically, we invite Pat to answer questions and to present it. And we invite our first selectman to present and answer questions. Just for clarification. Thanks.
So that means you have to come.
Thought I had a Friday night off.
Not to look at the hockey schedule. Okay, we have the motion there on the floor now. That's May 10th, 7 o'clock at the firehouse
If available,
with the Board of Ed and municipal fund spending on education fund spending.
yes.
Okay. All those in favor?
Did someone second?
I did,
Sorry,
Yeah.
thank you,
pay
Karen.
attention.
I know.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And lastly, we should set a date for the town meeting.
So we have our regular meeting,
Regular meeting on the,
On the- which is going to be helpful, as John pointed out. So
So we're
maybe
not doing that.
and the town meeting where it's voted, it has to be not, there's a 2-week thing. And I can't remember.
You can't set the town meeting date tonight. It's not on your agenda.
Okay,
So
very
you can only send a public hearing. You can talk about it, but you can't make a motion.
Let's
Oh.
talk about it.
Yeah, the 24th, I think would work. I don't want to bleed in.
That is the Friday of Memorial Day.
June.
That is
Oh.
Friday of Memorial Day weekend.
No, the
That is
31st.
not a good thing.
Oh, you're right.
It's early, huh?
Well,
It is.
then all the out of towners will be here. They'll be here on the 23rd.
You have a lot of other, well, and of course, our Memorial Day is always a great event to participate in, but you could do it on the 31st.
So then, Salisbury will be completely over.
You could do it on the, you can do it on the 31st, yeah.
That's the 31st.
March.
Do it, but-
Tight, but.
Yeah.
Tight, so just have to-
Historical Society dinners, oh yeah, the firehouse is available on the 31st.
Okay.
While we have our senior services director here, maybe I'll ask her,
Yes.
would it be available? So 107 will be available.
But you have a dinner on that night too?
Historical Society.
Oh,
You know, when people, you're gonna have to pull people away. I think that's kind of unfair.
Although they, yeah.
What time is the dinner? I don't.
It's a big affair.
Yeah.
Julie
Yes,
will be
it-
there. Julie will be at the dinner. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, that's true too.
Yeah.
my question, Denise, was, we can't set a date now, but I can't remember, is it that you must be, cannot be earlier than a
Minimum of 2 weeks.
A minimum,
3 weeks or 10 days?
no,
So
2 weeks for the,
We
between
can
the
set,
two.
we can set that on the 13th.
Right.
On 13th.
I'm just saying, if you wanted
Okay.
to talk about it, you could, you could do it sometime, like the 20th or the 17th. That's cutting it a little close. Or the 31st. So, we have talked about it.
I have to do it on a time when everybody can be here, not just.
That's fixed. Well, okay,
Okay,
we talked about it.
we have any other additional public comment tonight?
I have one.
Okay,
Do you, you're not doing any discussion?
I didn't know what that was. I think that was in
Plan
the.
for 24, 25. We've already kind of.
we've already, and we can start that on the 13th.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
I have a public comment not as a recording secretary. Couple things. The general fund has gone from 18, 15 to 12.5, and now whatever you guys decide is okay, that's showing a decline, but whatever you take from the general fund this year, you're already behind next year. So if you take, say, $300,000 from the general fund this year, and you have a 0% increase next year, you're already behind $300,000. You already have a $300,000 gap. That's how we keep getting behind. This year we are behind because we were short
Last year.
$323,000. And we added $200,000.
You're saying that we're behind this year?
We started out behind $323,000. Last
Because we
year's
took it from
revenue
last
was
year.
$323,000 less than the budget. So you took it from the general fund to make it match.
And we didn't need it so far.
But what I'm saying is, every time you do that, you're starting off the following year that much behind.
Because there's so much we don't know. I mean, there's revenue we don't know about.
that we're not informed about.
Yes, but if you have a $500,000 gap next year, and you take 300 out this year, now the gap is going to keep perpetuating.
Right.
And I think it was Tom, he said you keep kicking the can down the road.
I would follow you, except that our general fund doesn't keep decreasing.
Yes, it does.
I think your data on that is off.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You started off the year with.
So all
we're
of
talking about fiscal year.
You started off with 1,059,000, July 1, 2023.
But think of it,
But
think of
we-
it,
but I'm looking at 22 to 23, not 23 to 24, because we don't know what we're gonna end up with this year.
The
22 to
general fund is
23.
going down.
It still feels.
so think of it this way, all other things being equal, anything we dedicate from the general fund to the operating budget means we start out that much in the hole next year, all other things being equal.
When we go, yeah.
They won't necessarily, they probably won't be equal, but we don't know which direction they won't be equal, and we might have a bad year of collection, we might have a good year, we might have a good year with state revenue, we might have a
You know,
bad
we
year.
may close on 35 Railroad Street. Good to see.
It's like it's healthy to have a good, healthy reserve. You just don't know.
Then.
So when we meet on, oh, this is public comment, so.
Firehouse, you guys are awesome.
The 10th.
I'm assuming Hazel agrees, she's the only one, that's probably.
So, just a little bit more on that thought is,
Don't forget your grand list might go up too, I think there's.
I don't know, I don't
also-
know where the grand list going up. That's
Yeah, I assume because there are.
it's not gonna go up enough. Because, when the houses, that's a mess. I'm gonna do some research on that from a state level to see if there's anything we can do as a town. To go back in and say, hey, some of these properties that are being appraised or being assessed now are assessed so low. But have sold so high that the people buying them, they're not paying their fair share, let's say.
No, I've been wondering about.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's my project I'm taking on.
And then, that's good. But I do want to go to what you said, and say that as many people know, we had, a mid-assessment. Many people saw a significant increase in their property taxes, not because our mill rate went up, because
The appraisals went
COVID
up.
caused different values of on the real estate market. So
Mhm.
people have already experienced significant increase in their property taxes. And so if you
But-
think that they can bear more, then don't go into the general fund.
But they may have also,
But
Yeah,
even with the
I'm
mill rate
just saying.
down, no, but even with the mill rate down,
That did happen, yes, she's
You're right,
correct.
no, 100%.
You are
I'm not
correct.
disagreeing, I'm just saying, but added to this year,
Yeah.
where now we have to go to mill rate.
She's correct though.
I know, but
The taxes still went
we
up,
actually
even though
brought the
down.
mill rate down in anticipation
It's your
of
fault.
that mid-assess. Knowing that people, and it didn't make much of a dent. And so, a lot of people had a big increase in their taxes, and, if the majority feels that we need to increase taxes to cover our expenses. I'll always support whatever the majority decides here. I'm just pointing out that, we could avoid a significant tax increase. By using the general fund, and
but
yeah, I understand other people's points too, and respect that.
I think when you say a lot of people's property taxes went up, you have to finish the sentence, say all their equity in their house went up.
Yes.
And you can't have.
Only worth what somebody's willing to pay.
Well, then,
That doesn't include them.
And that doesn't matter unless you're selling.
it's.
So all the equity in the world isn't gonna change your taxes if
No,
you raise so.
And I'm not gonna sell my,
But it's,
to pay my bills.
maybe it changes your IRA, maybe it changes your, all the rest of that. I personally have had a big equity boost and I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's good. I don't know, if public comment is.
No, I would like to point out that everybody has an equity, higher equity in my house doesn't put food on the table. So I would like to be considerate of those of us who don't have it.
There's things we'll think about when we do talk about the mill rate and we're gonna get lots of information at the town hearing, which will be very helpful for us, as Steve pointed out. We don't usually go there until after the town hearing. But, I appreciate being heard and I think you guys, and I appreciate Denise's comment too, that's important to hear that, and Karina's too. Motion to adjourn?
I would.
Oh, sorry.
Have one more comment, which is not necessarily the job of the Board of Finance. But I think with the costs we have to start thinking outside. And just as an idea, maybe the school, I mean, it is an ag school, or maybe the Boy Scouts would be willing as a project to build flower boxes for the town and get credit. And then the money that is saved.
That's the way it used to be, the way it used to be done in small town USA.
It's possible, but it doesn't make much of a percentage difference in the bottom line.
No, this particular one, but I think the
Mhm.
town needs to start thinking outside the box. How to save the money that we actually need to spend without breaking the taxpayers' back.
Definitely, I mean, I thought John's point several meetings ago was very good, that it's not the same model as it was historically. We need to start thinking differently, but I haven't figured out what the differently is. It might be not just expenses, but looking at a different approach to revenue.
Right.
I don't know.
So I will bring that to the board of selection
I mean, I think
as
we're,
well, because I know it's not the job.
I think we are in a spiral. We have to pay attention to that. I think, see how much, we rob Peter to pay Paul here in this situation.
We can't keep
So,
doing it.
the thing is here is that our operational expenses have continued to rise, supporting a small town and all the staff, all the things that we want done in our town, it costs money. And at some point, you outspend what you earn, and you have to figure out, again, increasing revenue is a great idea, although that's challenging for municipal government. But managing costs is almost always the thing you do. It's hard to do that if everybody needs something, right? So we're in the spiral right now. I feel like we're lowering the mill rate while the evals boosted up. I feel like we sort of, we were treading water there, I think, and now we're going to aim of increasing the mill rate on top of the 3 evals, and it's going to get harder for people. So we have to be very careful. I mean, we're looking at this budget cycle going, this is a challenge. I think next year is going to be worse. I personally feel like next year is going to be more challenging. I mean, I'm regretting the 6-year seat I had. But I feel like we're going to see next year. We're going to see more of this, and it's even going to be hard. So I think we have to really watch this year and be creative. And I think Corinna's points are very valid. I think there's ways to trim bits and pieces here, like we used to do, and that's going to help. The overall operations budget has really grown. And I don't know how we fix that at this point.
I think we need to learn, as a town to live within our means. With what we can afford, where we want, how much we want to spend, basically. Maybe what, some of the niceties that everybody wants, maybe we just can't do it.
That sometimes you can't.
Sometimes you can't.
And that's where the tension lies, because at the same time, you want to attract new young homeowners and new businesses. And you want the current businesses to thrive. And, I agree with you. I'm just saying, this is where the tension lies. How much do you invest in your town? And it's a risk always. Investment is a risk in order to get, more businesses and more families and taxpayers and people building homes possibly. I mean, that's another revenue source possibly, right? Is people building homes.
It's really tough when half of your property in the town is 50%. It's either state,
But
in
there-
conservation, or swamp. There you go.
yeah. Are there no?
That's a zoning issue that you have to start to look at, see what the zoning is, like letting people build on smaller lots instead of 2-acre zoning. Exactly,
This is
so-
the out of the box that I'm thinking of, and I don't know enough about
And
it.
those are legitimate things to look at, but we have to get over this mentality of this is our community and we don't want a lot of people here, because you've got both sides of it, we want to do this, but I don't want 1-acre zoning. I don't want to be able to put 2 houses on an acre. No, that's just not going to happen. We don't want to be this town or that town or what, and I see a lot of that. And unless we start to look at that and say it's okay to take a 1 acre parcel and put 2 houses on it so people can afford it.
So that's a new argument I've never heard about not wanting a lot of people in your town.
No, when I didn't say a lot, we went through this with Music Mountain many years ago. When they wanted to build that whole community up there on those 10 acres and whatever, and everybody fought it because nobody wanted the traffic and nobody wanted all those driveways and nobody wanted this. So here we sit.
So that's. where
There's
the
properties up there, one house with 10 acres, that's great, they have their 10 acres, but they don't want that 10 acres broken up into small pieces and little developments, and nobody wants all those developments. I personally think they're great. I was down in Alabama. Fascinated by the construction and the building that's going on down there. Beautiful homes, not major lots, they're family homes that people could afford. What about moving down there myself?
On half-acre lots.
Half-acre lot.
And a half-acre lot for a home like that is actually a pretty generous lot.
And actually.
Exactly,
I-
and
Well, it's
it
a third of an
works.
acre, so-
Exactly,
So I
and it
know.
works. My first house was a third of an acre, and it was plenty of room for a kid to run around. But that's a totally different subject.
Except that I
But
love
it
how you
doesn't-
brought in this other way of approaching things, and I think that's.
You
in the
have, you
end,
have to open
have
that
to be
door and you
looking
have
at
to
these
talk about
things.
those things and get rid of
As a
the,
town.
as a town.
Amy, if I can add one thing to your comment, the number one reason young families and middle-aged income and even high middle income people don't buy in Falls Village is because the taxes, when you qualify someone for a mortgage, part of that debt to income ratio is the property taxes. When they're half as much in Salisbury.
Right.
And our sales are comparable, pretty damn close to comparable,
Right,
so
I was in conversation all the time.
Sharon,
No, I've heard this. and I
so
I-
they're bumped out.
I'm-
Right,
I'm
but
gonna-
do you wanna keep it growing?
Because my wife and I lived in Salisbury for 2 years and we bought in Falls Village. Why? Because if you touch anything on that house for less than 600,000.
Right,
You can-
so what young people,
That's not a tax issue.
You
That's
can
just
now.
an issue.
but that was
Change
what you wanted, but a young couple buying either in Falls Village, you have a basic ranch house at this point, guess what? As hard it is for people to swallow, a ranch house in Falls Village is going for the same thing that a ranch house is going for in Salisbury now. They're no longer this, all right, so you have that. They're gonna buy that ranch house in Salisbury. That's what I'm saying, even though it's not as big as they want. But
Because
they
you
know,
raise
they
it.
know 5 years from now, they can put that addition on there, they're still gonna be half as much as Falls Village, so they're gonna, if they're looking forward. And moving to Falls Village, they don't have that ability. They don't, because the numbers just don't work. I mean, the numbers don't lie.
You have to make our town seem so much better.
But you need a sewer system too, but that's a whole nother conversation.
Motion to adjourn? That's.
Oh, no, I'm not in. She's public comment.
Still on public comment?
Yes.
Add that the population of Salisbury is 4 times ours.
Amen.
There are a lot of different metrics to consider from comparing these towns and tax rates. And when you have 4 times as many owners, your mill rate is going to be substantially less. So I agree with the concept of looking at our zoning and looking at our developing and seeing where we can build more dense housing. And I think we also need to support developing workforce housing that would be on the tax rolls. Every other community in the northwest corner has it except us. And I think that's starting to come to roost for us, that we don't have as many working families coming here. Because 10-acre lots is too expensive. And if we don't have those families coming, I personally think what's going to come home to roost is spending as much money as we do on our school when we have fewer and fewer families able to afford to live here.
Yeah, I piggyback on her, first of all, the word I think you were looking for was NIMBY, not my backyard. When you're talking about
Amen.
NIMBY, not in my backyard.
Oh, yeah.
Housing,
Mhm.
you know, and haven't we gone back and forth on across from the road, across from the high school, the affordable housing?
Well, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, people being able to purchase a home on a half an acre. Build a house on a half an acre.
I don't think you can do that
Yeah.
with the well and the septic system.
Well,
I mean,
that's
you
a
do
whole
have
nother
1 acre.
conversation down there.
1 acre.
The point is there's, we have 7.5 acres. I could actually split off 2 acres of the house there if I want to. I'm not going to, just so you know, but it can be done.
Oh,
And that's what we have to look at.
Either way, that's many years and problem to solve, right? We can't.
Right, we can't solve it
next year,
tonight.
yeah.
And we can't solve it next year, but you have to
Maybe
have
zoning might,
Yeah.
beginning the process.
You have to work.
Might,
for it.
might
I
be
have a
best
couple of
in the
questions
future.
on the budget. I'm gonna have Barbara Riley in later.
We know that.
But budget, are you asking questions about the budget?
Yeah, can-
That would be best done
At the hearing.
Hearing,
okay,
because you'll have all of the people who can really answer in depth, and and all the public will want to hear your questions then, so everyone. will-
You're not being shut up, Barbara, but at this point, in the public hearing, we can't answer some questions
Because
because
it's public.
we don't
comment,
have the people here.
And it's only public.
can I
comment.
just make one statement? This is the first time I've ever read line by line budget, I don't. And the reason I'm in Falls Village is because my husband and I want to buy a house in Sharon. And we put those 36 years ago, we could not afford it. And that's how we found Falls Village. But anyways, I would like to make one statement. I'm glad to see the investment. Yes, our taxes went up, but I'm glad to see that we invest a lot in our elderly and the children. That actually made me proud of our town. Like, I like the social services and how we provide programs, for the kids. But also I'm not seeing is what will the tipping point be for our school? When are we, and I've been saying this for 25 years. What's the tipping point gonna be where we can say, we just can't afford to send our kids to the school? That would be thinking outside the box.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Wait a minute.
Amy, Amy and.
Amy and Steve, Amy started, you started the ball rolling.
I had Steve down 10 minutes ago.
What?
Yeah,
Aye, aye.
was that correct?
7:52. Unanimous, I just take it?
Yeah,
Yes, yes, darling.